So if you didn't already know, or you haven't already guessed, there's going to be another big disaster for pre-orders for Kill Team, this time with Ashes of Faith. Now this is actually going live about a good few hours before the pre-orders start for this box. So if you're catching it afterwards, you probably already know from other places or from trying to order yourself that there's been a problem. And obviously there'll be a good few of you that do manage to get a copy as well. But what I'll do is, if you're lucky enough to be listening to this prior to the launch in your region, I'll give my 2 tips really for what you can do to try and secure a copy. There's no, it's not rocket science or anything like that, but we'll get to that later on. So, Kill Team Ashes of Faith, kind of remaining in the trend of Kill Team releases. There's going to be availability issues. So how do we know this? For me specifically, what I did was I occasionally I do a register for interest. There's a big retailer in the UK called Darksphere, a big retailer of Games Workshop products. And what they've been doing really since Indomitus is that any big releases that get announced, they put up what's called a register for interest in that box. So as when they know a box is coming out, they do the register for interest, and basically it's a first come first serve basis. When they know what their allocation is from Games Workshop, they'll allocate based on who signed up fastest. They'll allocate a box to that person, and then they'll send you an invoice for it, and then you pay it, and then great, you get your copy. Fine. Now, obviously, I've had a problem with my register for interest for this box, and that's why I'm doing this video. But it's kind of the circumstances around that is why I think there's going to be a really specific problem here. But we'll get onto that in a minute. So, kind of to recap the situation, the most recent season of Kill Team has been plagued with mass shortages when new boxes go live. So, when Into the Dark came out, that wasn't too bad. I think most people managed to get their copy. If I remember rightly, that was still available to buy from Games Workshop for at least a little while after launch. But then for the 3 big box expansions for that, so that was Shadow Vaults, Soul Shackle, and most recently Gallowfall, those items sold out within moments of them going live. And it's kind of been a big problem for fans of Kill Team. So those that weren't able to jump on a copy straight away completely missed out and then were fed to the scalpers on eBay. So, for example, Gallowfall, the most recent box, that sold out by 10:01 in the morning. Pre-orders are supposed to go live at 10 o'clock, sold out by 10:01. We'll get back to that bit in a minute in terms of timings of release. So everything's been gone straight away. And then immediately you've got people on eBay selling them for twice the retail value, and people are buying it. It's happening straight away. I've done other content relating to that, to do with where are those copies going. So you can see there's some sellers on eBay that have got 10 copies, so it's obviously some sort of bot that's scraping their website and taking the allocation of that game. So it's going straight into the hands of the wrong people. But anyway, so that's kind of the problem. It's not just with Kill Team. Obviously, it happened with Indomitus when it released because there was unprecedented demand. But other games such as Warhammer Quest Cursed City. So when that launched, that is another box where it was available for moments and then gone. I'm not exactly sure what the wider problem was for Kill Team Cursed City, why that project failed so spectacularly. So it was it's very, very highly hyped with its own trailers and cinematic trailers and that kind of thing, and then it was available for such a short period of time. Now, if anyone remembers post Indomitus, because of the cock up with that, there was a kind of a reprint promise or a print to order promise that for bigger boxes, what Games Workshop are going to do is they're going to say, right, okay, so if you miss it from the weekend of launch, the following week you'll be able to pre-order your copy, they'll go back and manufacture it and they'll deliver it back to you within about sort of 3 or 4 months. That eventually happened for Cursed City, but not until about another year down the line, or maybe 9 months down the line. They didn't actually do anything about it. Cursed City is a cock-up of its own. It's a really strange and bizarre problem that was. It came out, they did the reprint so much later. They're 2 very, very poor expansions. It had no miniatures. And all the miniatures, which were clearly for those expansions, had been released in the months following the main release of Cursed City. A really bizarre situation that I can't get my head around. But that whole project for me kind of collapsed in on itself. And the only reason I bring it up is because to my mind, it was one of the very first really popular launches where there was a failure to produce enough copies by a long, long way. And again, I harken back to this promise to do a second run so as everyone can get their copies, which, as far as I remember, other than Cursed City, which obviously took a long time, the only other box I remember them actually reprinting was, I think it was for the Black Templars from 40k. That box was really popular. And I believe they did a reprint of that, but a kind of print-on-demand version of that, but I don't think it's happened with anything else since. But anyway, let's get back to Ashes of Faith. So, going back to Darksphere and that register for interest. So, how they do that is when exciting new boxes are announced, they basically create the register for interest the day later, so as they can start gathering numbers for people to pre-order the boxes. And how they do that is basically they put the link on their social media channels first. So mainly their Facebook groups, they'll put the links on there for the register of interest. And then within an hour or so, they'll email those links out to any people that are on their subscription list via their website. And so in this case, I had registered within maybe a few minutes of the register for interest going live. So it went live on their Facebook group, and I registered straight away. And the reason I know that it goes on there first, on the social media side of it first, is because basically an admin from the group went on and said, "Yep, the emails haven't gone out for this yet. It's on social media first." So yeah, I'd filled in my register within moments of it going live. And I still didn't manage to get a copy. So they obviously had been allocated so few copies that even if you jumped on the register for interest very, very early, you still didn't manage to get a copy. And if you go to Darksphere's their groups on Facebook where they post this, the groups aren't very big, and there's you wouldn't say that there was any traffic on there either. So yeah, I think that I was almost certainly going to be one of the very first people to click on that link. And then sure enough, when they found out what their allocation of stock was from Games Workshop, they let me know, yeah, you know, you've been unsuccessful. So I reckon that they would have got less than 10 copies. And I know for a fact that when likes of Indomitus came out, I think they got hundreds and hundreds of copies. So even though I was kind of bang right at the front of the queue on that register for interest, I didn't manage to get a copy. And that's basically why I'm assuming that when this does go live, and most people will be watching this after it's gone live on Saturday, I'm assuming that very, very few people are going to be able to get a copy. Now, I've luckily managed to secure my copy from an FLG. I really suggest you do the same. So basically, the tip, and it's not really a tip because everyone knows it anyway, but for those of you who don't know it, if you go on to order at 10 a.m, you've probably missed it already. So basically, when you're going to try and order your copy of anything going forward with Games Workshop, everyone says that it goes live at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. It doesn't. It's more like 5-2. But 5-2, 4-2, 4 minutes to 10, that's when it goes live. So get there early, start hitting that button. Don't just try and log in at 10 o'clock. That is one way that you can maybe try and get a copy for yourself. And your only other way really is find your friendly local gaming store, and in the week when it's announced what the pre-orders are going to be, get in touch with someone at your friendly local gaming store, whoever your local retailer, or even if it's a small online retailer, get in touch with them and ask them to secure a copy for you to pre-order when it comes out. Other than that, I don't think there's any surefire way of being able to do it. So yeah, it's either get on there at 5 to 10, or try and create like a mini relationship with a small retailer, because all the small retailers, that they will almost certainly get at least one copy. So yeah, just try and jump on something with them and get them to help you out. That's what I've done, and I'm really happy that I've started doing that. I still get a nice discount from retail, and yeah, I think it's just a good way to go, and it also means that you're helping out, one of the smaller retailers as well, and that surely is a good thing. So I am going to leave it there. My whinging is over. So if you happen to listen to this before the pre-order, very best of luck. I hope you managed to get your copy. This could be really embarrassing. Perhaps there's no availability issues, and this video go live and I'll look like an absolute muppet. But I think given the track record, given what's gone on with the register for interest from Darksphere, I think it's pretty much nailed on that there's going to be problems. But good luck for that. And if you've listened to this after the pre-order's gone live, yeah, just give me your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. It is disappointing. We all wish that things like this wouldn't happen, because inevitably these copies do end up in the wrong hands. And and good people in the hobby end up getting scalped. And from my perspective, never pay a scalper's price. Never ever do it, because it will always, it'll always hinder the hobby. It will always be the case that this cycle will never end. Games Workshop, I'm not sure what they're going to do to pull their socks up here. We know that the excuse in general is that they're putting all their production into Leviathan boxes, which I can understand, but it just doesn't make sense to me to do such small print runs for these games, because you have to get to a certain point in order to make it financially viable. And yeah, I just don't know what's going on, but I just hope it gets improved soon. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button, please. If you're not a subscriber, then you should be. And I'll be back very soon. So I'm just about to start putting together some content for Warcry Nightmare Quest. So I'll be doing an unboxing that will come up not long after this. And then I'll maybe do some of the an assembly guide for the pyramid that comes in that box. So yeah, look out for that as well. I'll see you all very soon. Have a great weekend.